Today, we'll be performing surgery on an iPhone 14 Pro because my personal iPhone that I use day to day had an accident. And yes, before you comment down in the comment section, I indeed had a case on it. I've actually dropped this phone from like a bench press height at the gym, and it landed screen down, camera up, and the end result was a cracked lens. I do have a bumper around the camera as you see right here, and I'm still scratching my head how exactly it happened. I guess it was just hard enough that it just caused that to crack. But now, after a couple weeks of waiting, I have everything needed to actually perform this repair. So yeah, unfortunately, I was wearing a case when this occurred, and that didn't really do anything. Because if I wasn't wearing a case, I'll just be complaining how much of this hump that pops out of the main body of the iPhone 14 is annoying and unnecessary. I know the iPhone 14 is about 7.85 millimeter thick, but realistically, I want to say it's about 8 millimeters thick because the camera pops out a lot, and especially when you put it on a flat surface, it wobbles. I just wish Apple actually made it flush and fill up the extra space with a larger capacity battery for better battery life performance. Wouldn't you agree? But other than that, from that drop, everything else on my iPhone survived very well, so I guess that's a good thing, because replacing this back glass or the screen glass, that's even a difficult process. The lens, I looked at a lot of YouTube videos online, read a bunch of articles. It's pretty straightforward. You are required to purchase a repair kit, which they already provide all the necessary tools needed for this repair. And to prevent this from happening in the near future, I also went ahead and picked up a camera protector. So I'm going to go ahead and place this over that once these lenses are repaired. Another thing you will need is a heat gun of some sort. I'm just going to use a hair dryer. I know the process may take longer, but since I don't really perform that many repairs on electronics, there's really no need for me to have an expensive heat gun. When the hair dryer, it will take a little bit longer, but I got time. That's all I need to perform this repair. So let's go ahead and get to it. So you may want to turn off your iPhone. I decided to leave mine off. So of course, when you're your iPhone, a heat source, a heat gun of some sort. I'm using a hair dryer, which is perfectly fine. We're just going to put our focus on the broken camera lens primarily. We will need rubbing alcohol. I'm using 91%. Any brand, doesn't matter. Some Q-tips. And then the kit that I purchased, this one in particular, literally gave us everything. I have this one linked in the video description down below. But we have everything from tweezers to blades. Even came with the screen protector kit, basically. But we're not going to use everything that's included here. But these are the three lenses. They provide all three of them, for the ultra wide, the main camera, even the telephoto lens. And yes, the Pro Max also uses the same size lens, so the 14 Pro and the 14 Pro Max are all compatible to be used with this lens. And of course, when you're removing this, what we're trying to do is just chip off the glass. So I think this is the one that's going to fit our lens, but at the end of this video, you'll find out which one's the correct one. So if you have this kit and you're trying to figure out which lens you have to wear, just watch to the end of the video or click on the time-lapse stamp in the description. So the next step is just use the heat gun and target the lens that's we're trying to replace. So the heat gun helps out in softening the adhesive, so it's easier to remove. And what I did, I just had a timer going off for 5 minutes, and I was just targeting that lens. Be cautious, the iPhone will get really hot, so be careful when you touch it. But once 5 minutes has gone by, I got the tweezers and just begin chipping off the glass. Be super careful, try not to get stuff like lens glass particles inside the lens sensor, as it might be challenging to remove. But at the very end, as soon as I got all of them out, I've noticed that just shaking the camera was actually helping in removing some of the free fall glass that actually made it inside the camera lens. So yeah, the objective is just to ship everything off one by one, and don't be afraid of damaging the ring that's out there. This ring is actually made out of stainless steel. You can scratch it. I did scratch the paint of mine a little bit. So just be cautious if you have a dark color iPhone like mine, or if you have the gold one. You might be able to scratch. You might accidentally scratch the lens, the paint, but don't scratch the lens. Always try to move the tweezers around it. And once you remove all the glass off the ring, just smack it a couple of times, and you'll be surprised how much glass particles would continue falling off. Just keep doing this until you're satisfied there's no more inside. Just don't go too crazy because you could harm the sensor. But for use the main sensor, from my understanding, doesn't really move as much, so I was able to really pound it, as you see right here. And yes, you'll find out at the very end it does still work. And now, once the glass is clear, your next objective is just to use the Q-tips. Dip it in rubbing alcohol and just to rub as much of the adhesive out of the camera ring as much as possible, and just remove it. Yes, you can use the blade as well to like just move the adhesive around so you can pick it up with the Q-tip. Just don't try to touch the camera sensor or harm it. Be super cautious. And to be real with you guys, this process took me about almost an hour. Just be super careful and cautious and patient. And once you think you're done, everything is cleaned up, take a nice soft cleaning cloth, like this cleaning cloth I have right here. Not the one that was included, but something nicer. And just try to clean that sensor, free it from any dust or particles that might have landed on it during the time with the cracked lens and stuff, or other glass particles that might have made it. But once you're satisfied, take one of the lens. Don't do the mistake I did, because I accidentally placed the wrong size lens on it. But when you're using this, don't touch the lens glass itself. Just hold it by the plastic sheet that it has, and if you do have to touch it from the part that's not going to be inside the camera housing. So I was just using tweezers to remove the little, I don't know what the sticker part is called, the sticker that you have to peel off to unveil the sticky adhesive. I just used tweezers for this part, and I was navigating it and guiding to align everything up by just using the clear plastic that's holding the lens. So be super cautious and patient for this to get it right. So at first I thought I got the wrong repair kit, but it came to the conclusion is the main one does not use the super thin gasket looking one. It's the medium one for the main one. So I had to reheat this one with the heat gun and use that little knife blade thing to remove the incorrect lens. So you'll know you have the correct lens on your iPhone when it actually does sit flush like the OEM one, because I think this one is the OEM, because this thing looks really good. It looks like it's the original one and doesn't cause any interference issues with the camera. But other than that, you are set. I don't recommend touching your camera lens or exposing it to water until like a couple of days when it's fully settled. But now, to prevent this mistake, I picked up this third party, and this thing was super easy to install. It's basically a protector for your camera lens on the iPhone 14 Pro, and it has a nice aluminum touch edge on the side, and it looks super original. It even fits perfectly fine on cases as well. So I have this one also linked in the video description down below to prevent these cracks from happening in the future. But here it is again. And yeah, it looks really awesome, and it fits perfectly fine on third-party cases. Now, I don't know what was the cause of this damage. Maybe it's because this case is a little bit too soft in your typical hard case. So I'm probably going to switch out of this MacPack case to something like Rhinoshield, which actually they gave us an exclusive promo code and gave us a care package filled with a bunch of their products. Now, this is not a sponsored video. They were just kind enough to ship us out, show us a bunch of their cases. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this Rhino case back onto my iPhone 14 Pro to hopefully prevent this from happening. And they also went ahead and gave us a 10% discount code. So if you use the link in the video description down below, enter the code HOTSHOT, you'll save 10% on your next Rhinoshield purchase. Other than that, there you guys have it. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave this video a like, subscribe, and link to everything will of course be linked in the video description down below, as well as the repair kit that I used and all the other stuff featured in today's video. But real quick, out of curiosity, how many times has your camera lens on your iPhone shattered? I want to know what's the average. This is my first time ever having an accident on my iPhone. So having a lens shattered, that was interesting. Anyways, I'm wandering off. Thank you so much, especially those that made it to the end of the video. You guys are real legends. If you wish to watch more, check out this video over here where I go through my favorite unknown features of the iPhone 14. Catch you guys in the next one.